Just before we go through any specific technique, let's concentrate just some basic ideas in the close guard, because I consider myself to have a very strong close guard. There's not many people who actually favor the close guard. You see a lot of the times you train, they suddenly open the guard and they go for open guard. So there's nothing wrong with that, but the one thing you have to realize, close guard is very one-sided. There's nothing really that he can do against me. Maybe in the lower belts, the guy leans forward, puts pressure on you, you're not really sure what to do. You might feel you're under pressure. But once you start training, after you've been training for a few years, you realize there's not really any efficient attack that the guy on top can apply on the guy on the bottom. It's in a higher level jiu-jitsu, it's almost impossible for the person on top to submit the person underneath from the guard. So it's very one-sided. The person on top, his main job, he has to open my guard for then try to pass. He cannot try anything as long as my guard is closed. So the main thing of his focus is opening my guard. That's why I think, why should I open the guard for him? It has to be hard for the person to open my guard, because he has to spend a lot of energy. And in the closed guard, that's when I have the biggest chance of submitting him than in the open guard. The open guard, there's a much bigger distance between us. And his body is a lot looser. He has a lot more mobility in the close guard. Of course, I can still attack, but it's two-sided. It's even. In the close guard, it's not even. I'm trying to submit him and to sweep, and he's only defending himself and try to open the guard. That's why, my whole life, ever since I was a blue belt, I always concentrate on keeping the person in my close guard and always attacking. So, over the years, I think I developed a very strong game in the close guard. I've been competing pretty much my whole life, and a lot of my fights, you can see it. Most of the times, I pull close guard because I know it's much easier for me to control the fight. So let's talk about now they actually fight in the open guard. The person on top, he needs to defend himself. The only way he can do that is to keep a posture up. So he needs to keep a distance between us. If I wanted to attack him, I cannot do it as long as he's far away from me. If I want to go for the neck, everything is too far. If I want to attack the arm, for me to attack his arm lock, I have to bring my whole body very high up his shoulder for then step the leg in and attack. So the bigger the space between us, the more he'll be able to defend himself. So before I attack, I want the person closer to me. When he's closer, now I can attack everything. I can go straight for the neck, I can climb for the arm lock, and triangles, and most of my attacks, they'll come when the person is closer. So he'll be trying his best to stay away from me. That's his portion. Now, about opening the guard. If two person has the same body, so let's say equal strength, the leg, you'll always be way stronger than the arms, regardless. Even if he's slightly bigger than me, my legs is still going to be much stronger than his arms. So for him to open my guard, first with both knees on the floor, I would say is very difficult. I consider myself to have a very strong close guard. I do not think there's a person alive who can open my guard with both knees on the floor. It's not being cocky, it's just because it's very hard. Because my leg will be much stronger than the person. So it's not difficult for me to block. It's not because I'm exceptional. I cannot open Eagle's guard if my both knees on the floor. So it's not because I'm really good that they will not open. Because he will have to fight against the power of my thigh. It's much bigger than his arm. You'll see that somebody doing that only if he's way bigger than the person underneath. That way, sometimes you see people manage to open the guard with the knees down or always just one leg. But with both knees on the floor, he can stay here forever. Now, the moment that he starts getting up, he starts getting an advantage. So with one leg, não, só levantou a perna. The moment that he gets one leg up, now he's creating a space between us. So he's diverting the resistance from my leg down to my leg, down to my foot. But it's still very hard. It's very hard for him because he's still going to fight against my leg. The one way that is the easiest for the person to open the leg is when they stand up. Now, It's not about my thigh, it's about my feet. Anyone, the one that start pushing them down, the guard will open. I cannot resist because first, my body weight is pushing myself down, and I can only resist with my feet cross. I stop using my thigh. That's when he has the bigger advantage. So you see, the moment that you start fighting with someone very good, the moment that you stand up, you know you can open the guard. As long as you're on the knees with one leg up, it's very hard. So I know that. So my job is to don't let him stand up. For him to stand up, he needs the strongest arm on my chest. Because that's what stops me bringing his body closer. This is what keeps him there. The other arm, he varies. He can grab my pants, some people don't like to grab the arm, he grabs the belt. It varies. There's different places to place the arm. Not this one. One arm has to be right on my chest. Because this is the only thing stopping him coming forward. The moment that he comes forward, I attack. So this is my concern, not that one. If I want to stop him standing up, I have to fight against this arm. So even before I try any attack, my main concern is this. If his arm is bent, he cannot try to stand up here because he'll fail. The moment that he goes up, that I pull, he'll fall. There's one moment that when the person is vulnerable the most, when he stands up. And that's the only time I try to pull them down. Not before and not after. Because it's just a waste of energy. So if you want to stand up, you bring one leg up first. The moment that the second leg goes up, he's vulnerable. Before he steps the second foot on the floor. I know that. So I'm only going to pull him forward to me only when the second leg starts getting off the floor. So there's one thing that I always do that is never fail. Whatever arm is strongest on my chest, I go over and I grab the opposite collar. My arm being over his, I have the advantage because I can try to fight against his arm. My arm being under, there's no way I can fight against his arm and he's neutralizing mine. So the moment that the person holds my chest, I open up, I go wide, because it's very hard for him to avoid it. I grab anywhere. I'm not trying to choke, I'm just trying to grab the collar. Because when I pull, I'll be able to bend his arm. But I will only do that when the second leg come up. If you try to stand up with my arm over, it's a fail. It's very hard. If I were him, I will let it go over, and then I'll stand up. If he goes with my arm over his, it's very difficult for him to succeed. And he'll fail, because every time I pull him with my legs, my arm's gonna bend his arm. Then he falls. And then there's a whole fight for him. The moment that he has it, if he can beat me to it, he'll come up. So this, and now he tried to go over. My hand is right there. Now my goal is to stop him making that grip. Yeah, I can even bring the other hand, because there's one place that I don't want the arm to be. Right in my plexus, right between my chest. He is where he's strongest. If he goes higher, that means his body comes closer. He's in danger. Because for him to grab higher on my collar, now he's in the range for me to attack. He can still defend himself, but he's in danger. And if he goes lower, he cannot support his body when I pull. He falls. So the one place that I try my best to avoid is right in my plexus. So the moment that he makes that, I go right over. Now, even if without him doing anything, if he tries to stand up, he'll fail. Because this, look, I bend. And the next step is to put my knees up to my chest. But only with the second leg up. Not before and not after. That's when they vulnerable the most. It's very difficult to do that. I will never try to stand up if someone has the arm right over mine, because I know if I try, he'll fail. Even, he almost fell, he's still on his feet, but that means his posture is very low. And if he carry on trying to stand up, he's vulnerable. Because he's going to stand up with his posture very low, and he puts his arm in a very dangerous way. If you stand up straight, it's very difficult for me to attack. So this, it helps a lot. And the moment that he tried to go over again, my hand is right here to fight against his hand. Now I can't let it go. I always keep both of my hands exactly where he wants to grab, so he has to pass through my hands, which is not easy. And if you try, I'll say 90% of people, they'll make the wrong grip. And here, look, I already know that if he tries to stand up, he falls because it's too low on my chest. Any grip I make, even if I grab there, when the second leg come up, he drops. So, yeah, this was more or less just to give you guys an idea, the importance to have a strong close guard. And here we start attacking. So now, I'm going to show you guys an arm lock that I've been doing, I would say not longer than 2 years. And I was able to get a lot more, to succeed a lot more in attacking the arm lock than any time before in my life. Because to attack the arm, I can only attack if he make a mistake with his posture. If he bring his posture low as he try to stand up, you know, you see people attacking the arm. But against a person with a good posture, it's very difficult. Because the moment that I grip his arm, it doesn't mean that I'm attacking, but he knows by experience that I'm focusing on his arm. The moment that I put my foot in his hips, there's no hiding. He knows that I'm going for the arm lock because I'm holding the arm, and the only reason for me to place the foot on his hip is to make my hips go on the side. So I cannot hide anymore. Usually, what's the first thing the person do to defend? Push their body back. If Igor sits back, it's impossible for me to attack his arm. It's a waste of time. So just by leaning back is the first thing that you should do to defend. Let's say for some reason his posture was low, I was able to get him here. Now it's too late for him to lean back, because if he lift his head up, look, he's going to be helping me step the leg over in the head. So what he does, forward. Now he wants to close that gap. So I need to push him to be able to step the leg over. But the moment that I push, he brings the arm out and he's out. So those is pretty much the main way that people defend. I'm not going to say the most correct, but I'll say the most common. If someone's attacking me, that's how I would react. So based on that, how can I attack his arm? Trying to block him, his escape. So one, I go with the arm over, right in the back of his neck. Remember what I said about the details? This is one. If I grab right in the back, I know I'll succeed. If I grab slightly lower, I will fail. Because this will say how far back he can go. This grip is only to stop in portion. If I make a grip right in the back of his head, it's very hard for him to break that grip, for him just to release my grip. If Igor makes that grip on me, I don't think I can break it. The worst thing he can do, he's leaning in the back now. That's a dead grip, I have to let it go. So this, if Igor try to go back, sit back Igor, he'll only go as far as my arm goes. If he really insists, he'll bring me with him, because this will dictate the space between us now. So I know if he try to go back, he won't be able to. So that's the grip I want. Now, to stop him going with the arm over mine, because I need my arm over his, I'll make a grip on his arm, and I create a tension. I do not care about breaking his grip. Actually, it's hard for me to do it. So I'll just pull his arm back, so if he try to bring his arm over mine, look, it's hard. Now, I can easily get to here. Because if you try to push it up, it's very difficult. Because that grip won't allow him. Push it up, Igor. Push it up. Push it up. Now I know I can get to here. Now, he leans forward. Now is another problem, because just by pushing, that's another fight. But the one thing I do, I gain people's shoulder, climb my leg, now I control him here. Now if you push it up, easy for me to attack, they will lean forward, of course. So here, if I feel the elbow out of place, I will adjust, I'll pull, I'll climb my legs. So now he has to lean forward. That's his only difference. Doesn't matter how big the person is, lean forward. It's very easy for me just to stretch my body and push him away. Because I'm not using my hands, I'm using my whole body, look, my core. It's very difficult for him to avoid that. And the moment that I push, his arm is straight. Straight into the arm. So those grip, I'll grab the arm. Even if he sits back, I go with him, look. Even without opening my guard, I can just place my foot on the floor. I grab, I go back. Now he cannot posture. I tense his arm. If he try to go back, look, there's nothing he can do to stop getting his shoulder. Usually, I could go straight to the arm lock here, but experienced person, he's gonna lean straight away. Now adjust the arm, take your time, lift it up, bend my body, go, lean forward. He can't. Boom. Straight to the arm lock. So that grip, ever since I started doing my attack in the close guard range from here, I catch a lot more people.